Toxic people are everywhere in Hollywood. Whether it's their negative attitude or their problematic behavior, people are quick to call them out for it. Today on Beyond the Screen, we have a part 3 list of most toxic celebrities. I'm your host for this one, Joss Bedard. Before we get into it, make sure you guys leave a like on this video because it really helps us out. In spot number 10, we have Dave Chappelle. The comedian recently posted a video on Instagram asking his fans not to stream episodes of his Comedy Central show until he gets more money from them. He begged his fans not to boycott any network, but to boycott him and not watch it until he gets paid. If you're confused, he had abruptly quit Chappelle's show a few years ago without any notice, but because of the contract he had signed before he quit, he doesn't get any additional money for the work that he did back then. After he quit, they still released a shortened 3rd season using previously unreleased sketches of his because they have the rights to them and he did sign a contract. He told his fans he asked Netflix to remove it and they did, but he is now criticizing Viacom BS, which owns Comedy Central, for what he says is an unfair deal. He basically doesn't want any of his old stuff airing unless he gets paid for it now. But what do you guys think? Personally, it's like, man, you signed a contract, you quit the show. I don't know, I don't think you can come back and start asking for money now. Up next, number 9 is Farrah Abraham. She found fame after appearing on the MTV show 16 and Pregnant and then Teen Mom OG. But she was eventually fired from the show after she got involved in the industry. She ended up creating her own line of toys and other items, and MTV did not see that as appropriate for their family-friendly show. A lot of people didn't agree with her choice since she has a young daughter who greatly looks up to her. But she has been attacked online for her parenting pretty much her entire career. She has had a complete transformation with plastic surgery, which has made her look like a completely different person. But she even live streamed some of her cosmetic work. She went on Instagram Live as she got butt injections while her 11-year-old daughter Sophia was in the room with her, literally just sitting there during a live stream. Her behavior as a parent has caused tons of controversy online to a point where people actually started a petition trying to get Sophia taken away from her. Coming into spot number 8, we have Sharon Osbourne. People were a bit thrown off about what her intentions were after she made some recent comments during an interview. The talk show hosted an interview recently with CBS and shared her thoughts on the lawsuit between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. She compared their abusive relationship to the one she used to have with her husband Ozzy Osbourne. Sharon was very open about her opinion and admitted that her and her husband were once both physical towards each other. She even admitted that during one of the physical altercations, he told her that she was going to die and started to violently choke her. But as you can see, they continued to work on their relationship and they are still together to this day. A lot of people didn't agree with her decision to stay in an abusive relationship, and they also didn't like that she got involved in Amber and Johnny's lawsuit and basically compared the two relationships. She called their relationship volatile and said she doesn't know what they are using, and said she was in a similar relationship where she would give him what he gave her, claiming that Amber just gives back the abuse that Johnny gives her. You should probably just keep your mouth shut when it comes to like other people's relationships, maybe. I don't know. We all have an opinion on it, so. Sniping our number 7 spot is Dr. Phil. His actions are judged quite often since his show is used to help people, at least that is what their intentions are. So with a platform like this, people are always going to expect you to use your platform for good. But they were really disappointed in him when it came to COVID-19 because he was downplaying the virus and compared it to other yearly death causes. He compared the COVID-19 deaths to car accidents, pool drownings, and smoking-related illnesses. He was doing an interview with Fox News and said, "The fact of the matter is we have 45,000 people a year die from automobile accidents, 480,000 from cigarettes, 360,000 from swimming pools, and we don't shut down the country for that. And yet we are doing it for this, and the fallout is going to last years because people's lives are going to be destroyed." Now, he said this when the pandemic first started, so I don't think any of us really knew what was to come. He later admitted that he misspoke and apologized for using those bad examples. But that did not stop the backlash that he continued to receive. Rolling into spot number 6 is Kylie Jenner. She was begging begging her followers to stay home and social distance during the pandemic, but then she ignored her own advice. You can imagine how much that just irritated people. She started taking the heat after she posted photos of her trip to Paris when the rest of the world was unable to travel and were following COVID restrictions. She brought some of her friends with her on the trip, and people were quick to say how unfair it is that they can't travel to see their family, but she can travel to Paris with friends. She explained that she was allowed to enter the city for business purposes since the headquarters of the parent company to her makeup brand is based in Paris. But that's not excuse why her friends went with her and why she was posing around the city without a mask on. Unfortunately, her and the rest of her sisters have all been criticized for breaking COVID restrictions that the rest of us have to follow. So it's not really just Kylie, but I can't have them taking up this whole list. I had to pick one. Halfway through the list, at number 5 is Mumford and Sons. The band is known for their music, but also for some pretty serious party fouls. They have made headlines on numerous occasions, one of them when they wrapped up a performance at Atlanta Centennial Olympic Park. After they were done performing, they made their way to the Claremont Lounge, which is a famous strip club in the city. Apparently, it was karaoke night, and they were getting pretty rowdy. One of the band members, Ben Lovett, made his way up on stage to sing a few songs. Naturally. But when the other bandmates started filming the event, things escalated very quickly. Most people know that you are not allowed to film inside a strip club. I feel like you've learned this rule even if you've never been to one. Like, you just know. But they kept pushing against the rules and ignored the staff members telling them to put their phones away. Security even went over the speaker phones and interrupted the song, but the band members started yelling and cursing. They ended up being removed from the venue and were banned from ever going back. They're lucky they were charged. You cannot film that. Coming into number 4 is Amanda Bynes. There was a time when everyone in Hollywood was trying to avoid her because they didn't want to end up on her Twitter feed. Back in 2013, the actress went on Twitter rants where she started attacking other celebrities with disturbing insults and inappropriate sexual invitations. She began harassing Drake on Twitter, saying that she wanted to hook up with him, to put it lightly, but then called him ugly and said that he had Down syndrome, and also went on to insult his mother. But Drake was not the only one that she attacked. She actually just called out a bunch of celebrities very randomly. Down the road, she opened up about it after explaining her struggle with mental illness and receiving treatment to get better. She actually blamed her Twitter rants as one of the reasons that she ruined her career. She said, "It makes me feel so horrible and sick to my stomach and sad. Everything I worked my whole life to achieve, I kind of ruined it all through Twitter." Her behavior was very toxic in the past, but people are finally having an understanding where it all came from and what she was really going through. In the 3rd spot is Courtney Love. It is no secret that she is not exactly adored when it comes to the rock and roll scene. She has made a name for herself, but has also gained the reputation of making people uncomfortable. She has struggled with a drug and alcohol addiction for many years, which has made her process in Hollywood a lot more difficult than it probably needed to be. Even during times that she claimed she was sober, people still did not believe her. She once claimed that she was Lindsay Lohan's personal sobriety coach, but Lindsay was quick to shut that down. Love also claimed that she found the location of the legendary missing Malaysian airplane. Maybe her intentions are good, but with her unpredictable behavior and habits, it's hard not to think that she is too toxic to be around. There's also the very famous debate on whether or not she killed her husband, Kurt Cobain, so there's always that too. If people do believe she killed someone, I wouldn't want to be around that person. Yeah. Like, if I believe she killed someone, I'm not gonna be around them. So, just saying. Taking over the number 2 spot is Kevin Spacey. The former House of Cards star was accused of sexual misconduct by numerous people back in 2017, and it ended with him being blacklisted in Hollywood. He lost everything in a quick amount of time, but somehow walked away as a free man, which many people did not agree with. I'm pretty sure most people did not agree with that. If that didn't give people enough reason to hate him, during the recent COVID pandemic, he told listeners on a German podcast that he could empathize with those who lost their jobs to COVID, even though he had a very different reason as to why he went unemployed. He said, "I still believe that some of the emotional struggles are very much the same, so I do have empathy for what it feels like to suddenly be told that you can't go back to work or that you might lose your job, and that it's a situation that you have absolutely no control over. Obviously, this caused chaos online as people said that they are absolutely not comparable situations. Earning the #1 spot is Belle Delphine. The cosplay YouTuber has had a very controversial career for a few different reasons. Her costumes and content can be a bit too sexual for some people's likings, and she started selling jars of her bath water, which people thought was kind of gross and weird. There were even rumors that she was selling a jar of urine for $10,000, but that was never confirmed. Thank God. Her YouTube channel was completely terminated out of nowhere recently after YouTube said she broke their sexual content policies. Apparently, 3 days before it was terminated, one of her videos was flagged for sexual content and removed, which she agreed was a little risky. But she fought to get her channel back, claiming that her content isn't any worse than the WAP music video, which is a valid point, but others fought against her and said her content is too sexual for YouTube and the young audience that she has. Some people believe even 18 plus is still too young for the content she produces. But if you think her content is fine, then you probably don't see her as being toxic. However, news just in, this morning I saw it, she just said on a podcast that she is doing her first adult film and she's going to be selling the used condom from that video. That is so weird. Tell me that's not up. Alright guys, that is our part 3 list. I'm gonna end this video with some comments from celebrities who have drastically changed their looks part 2. Megan Sloan says Taylor Momsen was also the girl who played Cindy Lou Who in the live action Grinch movie. Yes, she is. Fun fact. Girls Coaching Girl says Jared looks like Travolta, let's get a side by side. Everyone says that, I don't see it. I'm sorry, I can't. I've seen many pictures of John Travolta, I see Jared every day. I don't see it. I feel like he looks way more like Prince Eric than John Travolta. Simon Marshall says, I hope you never go under the knife, Joss. You got your natural look. Keep it the way you do it. I appreciate that. That is very nice. Honestly, I faint all the time. There's no way I could ever fathom going under the knife. That gives me like crippling anxiety. I don't like needles. I don't want any of that. It freaks me out. All Once 102 says, I didn't believe naked yoga existed on here, but it does, and they do not blur things out. I didn't know it existed until recently, and you are absolutely correct. They show everything, and I do have to delete my computer history. Alright guys, that's all I have. I was your host, Joss Fedar. Make sure you guys subscribe to hang out with us every day. I will see you next time.